We're rolling now.
Oh,
Fix your posture.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. Let me turn the soundboard down.
Did the fucking train just take off?
What? Sorry about that.
Did Jennifer Love Hewitt just walk into the high school party?
My bad, man. That was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. What if you found out I had a record scratch sound effect for a different reason? Oh, sorry about that, man.
I don't want to get into it, but
It's not important.
Let's not acknowledge it.
I am so sorry that I brought that up. It's something else I'm working. It's something else I'm working on pretty seriously.
I mean, it's a side hustle. I hope to turn into a main hustle. I don't really.
Right now, I'm earning $30 a month on Patreon with that project. So I'm hoping to really pick things up a little bit more. But it's a different sound effects-based project. Don't worry about it.
Patreon.com/Rams record scratch.
It's, don't worry about it. It'll be in the show notes. I'll bring it up when it's at an appropriate time. What was it? What were we just talking about? Oh, yeah.
25% in New York City, according to a tweet I read, is qualified to get a vaccine over BMI, body mass index.
Here's the thing. That tweet wasn't discredited. So by the same logic, if you're going to give me this, it wasn't verified, I'll say, was it not verified?
Exactly.
Your Honor, was it not verified?
As far as I know. You know what? Let me throw this into Google.
Let's check.
Excuse me.
Startpage.com.
Yeah.
Let's start the show where we start the show every week. Startpage.com. We will double check and find out if it is in fact true that obesity qualifies you for the vaccine earlier than everybody else. I guess
Because that's good news for me.
Phase 2. It's good.
I'm gaining out a little.
It's good news for how I view myself.
It's good. You're like, sir, do you count body dysmorphia or?
What if you feel like a dumb fat piece of shit all the time? Can I get the vaccine for that? I carry myself with the same sort of mental anguish that a lot of these people do. So I'd like to be considered.
I think. Let's see here.
This is in Texas.
Yeah, well, yeah, they've got to have a higher BMI reason in the South.
Yeah, I want to see LA. In LA, I'd like
if you have over 7% body fat.
Yeah, I'd like the LA BMI.
You get 8% body fat. They're like, how do you even have feet still?
You and I are just front line. They're like, this is very sad.
We get our vaccine and it comes with a rascal scooter.
We should do it. Let's go to Beverly Hills and see if we qualify.
Oh, yeah. It says healthy living. Obesity added to high-risk conditions for vaccine. Dude, BMI of 30. I think I have that. I think I have a BMI of 30. Well, let me see here.
Luckily for you, on my keychain, I have one of those BMI indexes. So let me pinch the back of your arm. How is that at all scientific? You know what I'm talking about?
It's bullying. The doctor pinches you and goes, you know what? You are fat.
Hey, excuse me? You pinched me and I'm fat. There's no. It seems.
What if I store all my fat in my arms?
I don't, dude. My calves. That was the other one. That'd get you in the calf. where
there's no fat.
The doctor would get you where he knew you couldn't outflex it. You know what I mean? Like no matter how hard you tried.
Exactly.
If you're fat.
If you have fat calves.
If you got fat in your calves, nothing you can do about it, son.
Oh, no. Look at my BMI. Oh, you can't see it on here. I'm 28.5.
Oh, dude. So you're so you're telling me you're fat enough to deal with the repercussions of being fat, but not fat enough to get.
I am overweight, and I'm in the highest bracket of overweight possible before obese.
So, Bryan.
That's the story of my life.
Listen, man. You know me as one of America's last two shock jocks. Mm-hmm. I love me a good opportunity for a radio bit when I see one.
Should I just start eating?
What if we spent the next several weeks trying to get you fat enough to qualify for the vaccine, and then immediately after you get it, we start getting shredded for the beach this summer. This summer, by the way, we're reopening America July 4th, worst hour of the week. I really think we should do this. Beach house party. I really think we should do it, dude. Like any great FM DJ, we got to have a beach house bash.
Absolutely, dude. And not like, we could bring in sand into the studio.
No.
Do it here, but you want to go to the actual.
We're going to the actual
where the water meets the mud.
I'm not bringing sand back in the studio again. That was a mistake. We tried it once.
Especially on a second floor studio.
It's so much work, dude.
We got to go through the window with a bucket.
We paid 12 hours for labor outside of Home Depot, thankfully. Stimulating the local economy.
Yeah.
Very important. Job creators.
I'm showing them the minimum wage in Georgia.
Look, I really think we should do a beach bash. I swear to God. July 4th, reopening the country. whether they like it or not.
Why July 4th?
Seems appropriate to me.
Yeah.
I feel like we had our entire summer rubbed. So whether they like it or not, I'm opening the country again July 4th. If you're listening to the podcast, I invite you to do the same. Come to our beach house, our beach party.
Masks, just like tops, optional.
Ooh, I like that. Except for the part where absolutely no masks. If you show up with a mask on,
Okay.
got to kill the sound effect whenever you gotta pinch it with this with voicemod.com.
Pinch it like a loaf.
You gotta pinch it, dude. All right, let's start the show off, dude. Where are we starting our show today? We're starting our show today down under.
So we're going to pick this up from the president of Australian tennis, which I didn't even know that's a weird job. Actually, if you look at the way it's credited on the video, it's Tennis Australia president.
Yeah, so they do things really
Is that translated?
I think they do things backwards over there, kind of like the whole
Toilet
spinning thing. So
By the way, I want you guys, our Australian listeners, to know that when we hit that toilet sample, it's going the American way.
it's going the American way.
Yes.
Just to be completely clear, this is going.
You can hear it, actually.
It's going old pipes.
Clockwise. Yeah, very old. Septic tank, definitely.
Not an efficient for water.
Not a low flow.
Absolutely not. That is horrible for the drought. We're starting the show today in Australia, where I guess this is the opening of their tennis. What is it?
No. This was after the finals of the Australian Open, which is one of the 4 majors.
Well, I read the word "open" and was like, "Well, clearly I got the." I got the gist of the story.
What do you mean they're opening tennis?
So somebody was opening a jar and said something racial. No,
a jar of Vegemite.
Dude, that stuff is rough.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
You like it?
Yeah, of course I do. Maybe I'll get if 5 Australians join the Patreon after this episode, I will get my BMI up to 30 strictly off of Vegemite and toast.
Dude, Vegemite probably is one of those things that's super calorically dense, right?
Yep.
And it tastes
like a yeast.
It's just like, well, we have a lot of listeners down under. Hence why we're doing the story to even start with. So I don't want to get too
5 Patreons before the next episode comes out. Between this one and the next one, I will eat 17 Vegemite sandwiches on the next episode.
17. Listen, actually, that is well worth. That's well worth the stunt there.
Yeah.
5 Patreons to get you to eat 17
live on air, which nobody wants to listen to. It's 20 minutes of me chewing.
It'll be on Patreon.
I'll do it video.
Yeah,
I'll do a video, separate thing. I'll fast forward it, so I'll be eating it super fast.
Yeah, you'll get it done in about like 8 minutes.
Yeah,
if you're watching it.
And then that'll get hopefully, or I'll keep eating Vegemite and then a second stint I'll get my BMI up, get the vaccine, and then come out of this year with a 6-pack.
Knock it down. We'll bring your BMI up. We'll knock it right the fuck down. We'll get you shredded as shit.
I'm gonna be like Leonardo in between movies and then during a movie.
I like him, dude. Leonardo between movies rules so hard. I would, if I was a chick, I would rather get plowed with him between. Plowed by him between movies.
Absolutely. You're not intimidated. You wouldn't feel insecure.
He's just hitting you with that soft stomach of his. Sloshing around. It's got whiskey in it.
It's funny that he looks up to Jack Nicholson as not an actor, but how the real Jack Nicholson, as how he lived his life.
He was not a fan of his work. He liked Jack Nicholson.
I like the eating and the girls.
He fucking rules, dude. So we'll get into that another day.
Okay, so here's the Australian tennis president, Jane. There's got to be a vowel there somewhere.
Her last name is HRD Licka. Licka.
Herd Licka.
Okay. Well, okay. I mean, I like the hat.
I don't even feel comfortable saying it. It feels like I'm going to get killed for saying that.
It is a bizarre name. Also, she spells her name Jayne. Jane.
Yeah, she's a freak, dude.
I want to call her Johnny when I say her name.
Jane.
It's not. I don't like it, but
okay. So Jane Herdlicka.
Hurtlocker.
Jane Hurtlocker. She's the tennis president, and here she is speaking after I believe Djokovic. That's another guy. His name's DJ Okich, or something.
It seems to be. I had no idea Australia was such a melting pot.
Well, that's a Croatian tennis player who won the tournament.
Oh, so he's white.
Yeah,
It's a melting
he's Croatian. He could be.
Australia is a nice melting pot of all kinds of different white.
But this is an international tournament. This is like one of the world's biggest tennis tournaments. It's one of the 4 biggest tournaments in the world.
Oh, they doing that now? Worldwide?
There's Wimbledon, U.S. Open, Aussie Open, and French Open.
Dude, I'm glad to hear that. All right. Okay, let's hear what this broad has to say. I'm sure great things.
Oh, let's.
All right.
Sorry, I fucked this up. Let me just put this through the Zoom. My bad. All right, we're good to go now.
Sacrifice for everyone. And with vaccinations on the way, rolling out in many countries around the world, it's now a time for optimism and hope for the future.
They're booing
the vaccine.
This is tennis?
By the way, yeah, I was going to say, who knew that tennis was a hooligan sport in Australia?
God forbid, I don't even want to see what their rugby fans are like.
They need to know. Do they know what American tennis is like? It's like people are like insider trading and like they have like white sweaters tied around their shoulders.
No one's actually watching the sport. People are in the audience wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, conglomerates are merging.
There's guys making deals while walking on treadmills in the audience.
Yeah.
Nobody's there to watch the game.
And now, this guy says something I love right here.
Well, the Deputy Prime Minister, Michael McCormack, has...
First of all, how are you on the news with that fucking voice? Well, first of all, the Deputy Mayor.
You know, can you tell the difference? All of them kind of sound... To me, this could be Jane. This could be Jane Herdlicka.
Right. Well, okay, let's hear from Deputy Prime Minister, what the hell is that? Deputy Prime Minister?
Can you dilute someone's title even more?
He's deputy to the Prime Minister. That's the next one. Okay. Sorry for an office joke, folks. I apologize.
Condemned the crowd's behaviour.
I think it was rather disgusting behaviour. I don't like booing at any event, and certainly any sporting event. But Jane,
okay,
yeah,
that really bothers me.
He came down hard.
I don't like booing at all, that's not the stance you need to be taking. The problem is not what they were booing; it's the sound. I do not stand for booing, but also. Is there any forum other than sporting events where booing is there he's like particularly sports? I really don't like booing. Where else do people boo?
Well, they are
Trump rallies.
They are in one of those cultures where people jeer in Parliament. So there's that.
Yeah.
But I do like he's like, listen. Obviously, she was saying some crazy shit out there.
he did a worst hour. He did not take a stance.
He's like, look, we get it. No. I listen. Did I love what I heard out there? Yeah. But you let her finish.
He's walking fast. He's got an assistant behind him who's giving him the narrative for the day. How we spin? He's like, we spinning this, mate. And they're like, okay, you're gonna go with the booing. Focus on the booing. Don't make a message.
I can't believe they're mad about the idea of
can't spell message without a mess. That's what I say. Never take a stance.
Never take a
Can you put me some profound shit right there? There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is, of course, the triangle of profundity. Whenever you hear that, you know one of us just made a good point.
Yeah, you can't have a message without making a mess first.
You can't. No, absolutely not. People are mad about the idea of forced vaccinations because, look, in Australia, you have to vote. So I imagine fucking vaccinations. I love a good Bryan had to check the window. Hold on.
Before you say that shit about Australia.
Randy's about to start talking about voting. Let me close the window. Close the blinds. Put up our Home Alone cutout in the window.
Rocking around the Christmas tree.
People think we have to pretend there's a party going on in here. Are they mad about the idea of forced vaccinations? Because I imagine it's forced over there.
I gotta tell you, I don't. We do a current event show, but I only know exclusively about what we talk about. I do not have. This is important for people to know. I do not have my finger on any pulses at all. So I don't know, because I just found out. Mexico's president is like a far leftist. He's like a Bernie Sanders type.
I guess.
But refuses to wear a mask. So I don't know what the rest of the world. I don't know if like
is that a machismo thing? It's got to be. It's got to be a machismo thing.
And I saw in Germany the original anti-quarantine protests were like real far leftist. So I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world as far as the angles of who's mad at what and what that says about you and where you stand.
In America, it's really badass to listen to the rules.
Yeah, that's like the leftist rebels.
That's when I started getting into the left.
Oh no! Turn it over.
What happened?
Upside down. You spilled Red Bull all over.
Well, I understand that, but what does turning it over do?
It helps. It just keeps it from steeping.
Jesus
Ramsey
Christ,
just
dude.
spilled. Also, by the way, our listeners are going to be disappointed about what you're drinking today.
Yeah, dude, hold on. Technical difficulties. Give me a second here.
It's the worst hour of the week with Bryan Vokey and Ramsey Badawi.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. That was a good place to start it. I just spilled an entire Red Bull all over my computer.
Now the show has wings.
I mean, to be honest with you, if you think that was the first time this keyboard has ever seen a significant amount of energy drink.
Now, was it Red Bull because of choice, or was it just like you were in a place and that was all they had?
Lent is here.
You know, I'm actually doing that.
Yeah, so same here. For Lent, I am giving up any energy drink with more than 120 milligrams of caffeine in it. And that's a promise, ladies and gentlemen. Why wouldn't I participate in Lent? It's like my favorite part of it's like Ramadan light.
I'm giving up sugar for Lent, no, refined sugar.
Got it.
I can have fruit. I've been having my dates, bismillah.
Man, that is good stuff, dude. Good, man. It's medicine. I mean, I'm in that Telegram group that we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I
on the
joined
show.
it too.
Are you on that one?
Yeah, I'm on that one.
I actually posted that I got I got
see it.
corona. So if you look into it, you'll see a thread where different people were contacting me. I didn't get any great sort of. I almost got a guy on the hook. There was a particular doctor from Pakistan who reached out to me to talk to me about ways I could cure corona. So.
And anything good or?
Well, he asked me how many days I had it, and I told him that I had had it for a few days and that it was getting worse. He did not reach back out to me. I guess
He was afraid he'd get it through the phone.
I think from his point of view, he's like, "Wow, there's nothing else I could do." Well, if you've had it for a couple of days, that's sort of
dead. You're out of the date window. You got to get 7 dates within 48 hours.
You can take a few dates right on time. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's like prep. This stuff is
Exactly.
This stuff is amazing.
That is literally prep. There, you're like, I had sex with an infected woman, and they're like, when?
Yeah.
Yesterday morning. Oh, you're fine. Here to eat 7 dates. You're good. Get out of here.
They insert a few dates up your rectum. They go, listen, it's not. Do we like it? It's not a fun, medicine to administer. But hey, if you can't do the crime,
Let me tell you, you got to hold this date up your ass until just a pit comes out. Once just a pit comes out, you're good, man. It's like putting a steak in Coca-Cola and it just leaves the bone.
does that asshole just loves dates?
It's the worst hour of the week.
I'm gonna start the show
Bryan
there.
Vokey and Ramsey Badawi.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Worst Hour Podcast. We're back testifying before you, our listeners, this week. It's always a pleasure to be here. The show is, of course, 100% funded by listeners, by the way. Well, 75% funded by listeners. 25% funded by stolen online gift cards. But
Yeah.
in QuickBooks, you gotta book revenue however you're going to book revenue. So
Right.
I say that we're 100% listener funded. On today's show, we will be discussing some very critical issues. If you're interested in hearing about a few things you don't have any control over, we'll be talking about the rapper who was fired from speaking at the annual Conservative Political Action Committee conference.
Yeah,
What was his name?
Young Pharaoh.
Young Pharaoh. Good. That's not Jay Pharaoh from SNL.
No, it's not. Maybe it could be a character. It really could.
I mean, we'll see. Let's see. What else? Hillary's next gig. Did she accept our job offer? We'll see. Plus, we'll take a look at some emerging Chinese theories on the origin of COVID-19. And they've got some very interesting ideas about where that originated. We will get into that. Plus, a whole bunch of other stories you expect to hear on your favorite Wednesday morning drive time news radio show podcast program. A little too much Red Bull today.
Rolls right off the tongue, if you ask me. That sounds great.
Rolls right off the tongue. Before we get into the show, though, today, I do want to remind everybody that we are to follow the show across all social media platforms at Worst Hour Pod. You could follow Bryan at Bryan J. Vokey on Twitter, at Mr. Bryan Vokey on Instagram. Follow me at Ramsbad across all social media platforms. What else? Write the show, worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com. I do want to also take this opportunity to announce a little business here, if you don't mind, Bryan. I'd like to address it with, if that's okay with you. I want to introduce our new bit here at the Worst Hour Podcast. As you're aware, we are going to be seeking very soon. We're starting to search for America's Next Great Podcaster.
No change in the voice whatsoever.
We're talking over this. We're commenting over it, so you can't mark us for copyright. We're speaking. We're commenting.
We are looking for America's next top podcaster.
We're commenting over it. You can't do a YouTube strike. We're commenting over the song. We're not just listening to it, so you can't do it.
Pedal.
Listen, man, tensions are going to run high. People are going to get mad, but that's what happens when you look for America's Next Podcaster. Email us your podcast bit or idea, a video of yourself maybe doing some of the example of the bit.
And if the bit could be like 10 to 15 minutes so we could play the whole thing, maybe have half a show off, that would be fantastic.
We'll watch your clip on air. We'll critique it. We'll tell you what we think about it, if we think it's a bit worth doing, or if it's a podcast idea that's
we'll tell you how we would have done it.
We'll tell you exactly. You're coming in with too much research.
Well, you know what we should do? We should do it like that fucking, who are those two magicians? The tall ponytail libertarian and the silent guy?
Penn and Teller?
Yeah, Penn and Teller. What if we did like, we guess their punchline?
Oh, we guess their punchline. Or we tell people.
But we don't give the punchline away because we don't want to ruin it. We're like, all right, let me ask you this. Is there a donkey at the end of this story? No. Listen, I'm going to ask you one more time. Is there a donkey at the end of this story?
If they say yes, that's us flushing the toilet, dude.
You did not fool us.
Now, listen, it's going to be an expansive contest. And we did give our Patreons a heads up on this. But what do you want us to do? We're on the fucking payroll.
Exactly.
We can't not tell them about it.
You could be on the Patreon. It's not our fault you're not.
Yeah, patreon.com/WHW.
Put
$5.
bangers out lately. Long ones, too. If you guys want more of us, we just did a 2-hour one.
Subscribing to the Patreon, I'll tell you right now, it's almost like subscribing. You almost get 2 bonus shows with how long those episodes
Typically, the Patreon episode, we like to get it out by Sunday afternoon, but we went so long.
I mean, it's so if you wanna maybe subscribe to the Patreon, bring us into your life that much more. Get a heads up on all these kind of running contests because listen, we opened it up. Those guys have had several days to work on their podcasting bits, which they're going to be submitting for America's Next Podcast, Great Podcaster.
America's Next Great Top Awesome Podcast Mother Bleep.
We are commenting on the song, so of course YouTube, you cannot strike this because we are commenting on it. And if you were a great podcaster, you would know that rule.
America's Next Top Podcaster is brought to you by the First Amendment, defended and protected by podcast host Bryan Vokey for 2.5 out of a 6-year contract.
Dude, should we put up a deadline on this one? You got 1 week. You have 1 week. You have to submit them. Worst Hour of the Week by worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com by next Monday at midnight. I'm looking at Bryan for confirmation.
That's right. Oh wait, I didn't have to whisper that.
All right. Other than that, that's the major That's the major business for this.
What's
this
going on
week
with your
here.
Teeth, dude?
I just got back from the dentist. I'm a little effed up. I mean, not today. I mean, I got back earlier this morning. I had the dental appointment.
I was like, you had a nighttime dentist appointment? Are you cheating on your wife?
My dentist jerks me off when I'm done. Yeah.
I told you I was getting drilled.
I tell people anytime, if you see a dentist office that opens after 6 p.m., they're giving you hand jobs. So just a little tip for the way things work in Los Angeles. No, I had a bunch of fillings filled earlier today. Pretty serious stuff. It was pretty
big deal.
It was yeah. Let's just say I was pretty brave.
Were you able to chew anything after?
I still can't relate to anything, dude. They fucking got me, man. My you know when all the Novocaine starts to wear off and you just sort of feel like you got fucked up, like your jaw, it starts to sink in the trauma of what they did to your body.
Like you chewed up some rocks or something.
Fucking jabbing me all morning, but while they were doing my fillings or whatever, the dental hygienist and the dentist kept saying to me, like, man, you are like an ideal patient. Like, you are such a great patient.
That must have made you feel so good.
I gotta tell you, no compliment has ever, no less worthy compliment has ever boasted a man's ego. I sat there, it just went directly to my head, and I just really fucking fed into it and played the part.
I've been waiting my whole life for a TSA agent to compliment how ready I am to walk through that security.
How ready you are to walk through
Laptop out, shoes off, belt off.
They'll never fucking give it. You know, that's what I fucking hate about. They're quick to be like, sir, as we said, could you put the headphones outside of the bin? But when you nail it, it's like
Nothing.
Is
there anything in your pockets? Sir, you don't even have to ask me that.
It's like
I cut all my pockets off before I came here. They're just hanging down.
It's just, I imagine it's just a cut holes in your pants.
Yeah.
And it's just pixelated, blurred.
Yeah. I have tights that have the pixelated pattern on them under it.
I realized while I was at home, thinking about how proud I was of what they said to me. I was fucking pat myself on the back.
Did you call your dad?
I didn't call my dad, but I did bring it up a couple times to my girlfriend in nonchalant ways. You're like, dude, freaking craziest thing happened to me earlier today. It's like, it's not that crazy because I know how
Chad Zabernak DDS was talking to me while I was in his chair.
Nah, dude, I'm not going to a freaking male dentist. What's wrong with you, dude? Let a dude put his hands in my mouth? Gross, dude. I'll have you know my dentist is a female. Beautiful hands. I realized that what she did to me was the same thing that you do to a dog when you're clipping his toenails.
Yeah, it's 100% right. She's calming you down.
And it worked 100%.
Mm-hmm. She wrapped medicine in cheese for you.
It was literally, I really believed it. I was like, I'm so fucking good.
Did you think for 1 second, what the hell are the other people doing?
No, I was so ready.
No!
Dude, I had such a stressful morning. I was so ready for the compliment. I needed it in my life, man.
You just needed a pat on the head.
Needed somebody, dude. Woke up, looked at my portfolio this morning. Oof.
You took a bath?
We all took a bath today, my friend. It was a brutal day.
Ended nice, though.
Ended okay. Something about seeing that you're down like 15 grand. You're just like,
It's a long run, brother. It ain't a sprint.
You just get this smell that you're like, what smell is that? What is that?
Yeah.
But thankfully we recovered at the end, and that's all that matters. Thanks to Jerome Powell, but we'll get into that in a little bit here. Thanks to Jerome Powell calming down the masses. Jerome Powell went out today. So what happened was, this is not even one of the stories we're planning on talking about, but this is kind of interesting. The interest rates in this country are potentially spiking, right? And when that happens, the Fed, people start to pull their money out of like tech stocks or whatever, because if your interest is going up, perceived value down the line is worthless because it's a fucking confusing mess. So everything was going crazy, and then Jerome Powell, like Bitcoin was tanking, the stock market was dipping, and Jerome Powell came out and was just like, there will be no inflation. And then immediately everything just went back to normal. So ultimately, the government is just they still Jedi mind trick us all day long.
Yep.
Immediately, everybody was like, "Oh, all right, cool."
Yeah, it's funny because I had a very different experience with today. I saw Bill Gates had said, like, you shouldn't be investing in Bitcoin unless you have Elon Musk type money. And then I was like, oh, that's good news because a lot of people are going to freak out. It dipped down. I spent some money.
Dude, Janet Yellen also has been talking a lot of trash on Bitcoin. That made me spend more money.
Yeah.
When Janet Yellen says she doesn't like Bitcoin, it's like, dude, what? That's like getting the parental advisory sticker on your fucking money.
Yeah. No, it's like I almost said the exact same thing you just said.
Dude, once CNBC opens our demo tape, and they hear what we can talk about, and they hear what we can do. Bryan and I, just so you guys know, we don't even into this current event stuff. We're really moving to the financial markets down the line here. But
right. Well, as a little foreshadowing, I think that we may be getting picked up by Al Jazeera soon. So
we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. Let's jump into it, actually, Bryan. Let's jump into the news today. Let's see. Where shall we start? How about I would
use like a printer from like 1998.
Well, yeah, man. I mean,
you turn the color off or something.
We're gonna burn a bunch of fucking.
Ramsey's holding up printing paper with the sides that have the circles in it, the perforated sides.
It was printed off of a computer with black and green screen. Yeah. Well, dude, come on, man. You gotta save paper. You gotta save money where you can save money. You think let me explain something to you, Bryan. You think I woke up with my fucking? You think I woke up losing this kind of money? Fucking printing yellow highlighter all day long.
You saw that your portfolio was down. You were like, "I'm gonna turn the color off." Sweet, your girlfriend, sweetheart, no color printing for at least a couple months.
Dude, turn off the color when the color printing goes off in my house. Shit's getting serious, dude.
You're like, I better have 6 dates today.
Tell me, wait, okay, so this is so amazing. The CPAC, this story really killed me. CPAC canceled a speaker who was found sharing anti-Semitic conspiracy theories after declaring this year's theme is America Uncanceled. So this guy is the young pharaoh.
Young pharaoh. He's considers himself, according to his YouTube channel, a teacher, a music artist, and a activist.
Why can't people just do 2 things? They got to do 3 things.
It's they all watch 30 Rock and they learn that every joke is in 3. Everything has to work in 3s.
Yeah. This is us doing the Penn and Teller thing.
Yeah, demystifying.
Horrible YouTube personalities.
So basically, well, here's what I think is really funny. So first, let's break down the tweet this guy sent. He sent out a tweet. Originally, he sent out tweets saying that Judaism is a complete lie.
Okay.
Jewish people are thieving. And all censorship and pedophilia on social media is being done by Israeli Jews.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, how could he say any of this? And then number 3 comes around.
Yeah. I mean, he's essentially your uncle. So I can see why this would be confusing.
I've heard the last thing many times growing up. So in his defense, he was probably talking to my dad.
So when they dug up, and by the way, what I just read was a summary of kind of his social media presence. That wasn't a tweet. That's like constant subject matter that he's tweeting about. So once he got canceled from, and by the way, this is a proper use of the term canceled. He had an engagement. It was canceled.
Yeah.
So I'm not speaking like a moron right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a legitimate canceling of his appearance.
Getting canceled from CPAC is pretty.
The only way you can get canceled is anti-Semitism.
It is. Yeah.
Which, by the way, how funny is it that if you watch the new Borat, like that was just like 2 CPACs ago. Borat apparently now would just be an invited speaker at the CPAC. Like he wouldn't even have to. They're like, dude, we'll pay you to say this shit.
Well, I'm telling you, he had a golden ticket, young pharaoh, and he decided to not take it. Look, man, those minority invite tickets, they're coveted. And getting that gig is a cush gig. So
they're not coveted; they're begging for them. Well, that's the opposite.
I meant the other way around. The slot. It's like they want to fill that slot so badly. So,
right.
But it's a good gig if you can get it. I mean, I've tried. Lord knows I've tried. I love this so fucking much. Well, I love his response to this.
So they said that. So the CPAC wrote the. Conservative Political Action Committee's Twitter account wrote, "We have just learned," which, by the way, it's crazy that it would be like if SNL hired you or I.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, turns out.
how they got so deep into how young Pharaoh got so deep into the system without anybody doing. And look, some of these tweets that they found were how long ago? Oh, no, this one is from today, but
they're very recent.
Yeah.
So the CPAC wrote, "We have just learned, that someone we invited to CPAC has expressed reprehensible views." And at this point, it's anybody's guess. Like when you in this tweet, they're like, "Oh, did they cancel Donald Trump? Did they cancel Candace Owens?"
Like how that so shows where their viewpoint on what's reprehensible I don't even think the anti-Semitism got them. I think it's the anti-Israel. I think that's
it's
where
100% the anti-Israel.
That's where you get uninvited.
Candace Owens last year at the CPAC gave a speech about how Native Americans weren't these innocent victims that everybody makes them out to be with the so-called genocide.
Dude.
That's fine because, you know, the Native Americans wield no power, but Israel can't go there. So they said, we've expressed reprehensible views that have no home with our conference or our organization. Mm-hmm. The individual will not be participating at our conference. And young Pharaoh responded with, by the way, all caps.
Which is how I think a rapper on YouTube should respond.
100%. He's perfectly on brand here. He wrote, "This is hashtag censorship at its best. All because I said I do not believe in the validity of hashtag Judaism and am willing to place $50,000 on myself to debate the top hashtag Jewish rabbi, which is a next tournament after America's Next Top Podcaster. Worst Out of the Week's going to be doing America's Top Jewish Rabbi. You have to be a Jewish rabbi.
You have
no
to.
other kind of rabbi.
If you're going to try to come in as one of these Muslim rabbis or one of these Christian rabbis.
These are different tournaments.
No, absolutely.
So he's willing to place $50,000 on himself to debate the top Jewish rabbi. He says, now I'm no longer invited to CPAC. Hashtag racist.
Can I say this? I like how he thinks debates work. Like, he thinks a debate ends with somebody getting their arm raised.
Right, like an MMA fight.
A debate is like, we go home and I think about it, you think about it.
Michael Buffer's in the ring and they're like, and new top Jewish rabbi, young Pharaoh.
He's putting 50 freaking K on the line, dude.
And then he hashtag dictatorship and hashtag young Pharaoh. I like how he's not hiding from anything. He's hashtagging Jewish and Judaism because he wants Jewish people to find this. He wants it to be in their feed.
Yeah.
So that guy was uninvited, replaced, I'm assuming, judging by CPAC. I just looked for another, I looked at the headshots of all the speakers on the CPAC, and I just looked for any other person who was in a T-shirt. Mm-hmm. I figured they'd just have like a T-shirt spot because everybody else is in a suit, and young Pharaoh was in a T-shirt. The next T-shirt guy on there in replace of him was a black man who runs a YouTube channel called Black Guns Matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I imagine, boy, would I be worried to be him at that conference.
I know, right?
To be the only black guy whose thing is guns.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless you. Is there any possibility that people don't know what CPAC is? CPAC it's an annual conference.
The conservative, I think we said it. We broke it down. It is a conservative political action committee. They throw a conference every year. It's kind of like it can be a kingmaker. Like Ronald Reagan, like pretty much won his nomination with his keynote CPAC address.
Exactly.
In like 79 or something.
It's very often both parties use their use these platforms.
Is there a Democratic one?
What's the one the Democrats did where Barack Obama gave the speech on race in America?
DNC,
the DNC. Oh, that was the DNC. No, but was that the DNC?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess there is no
for John Kerry.
There has to be a Democratic one. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. What was she? She was the chairwoman of the National Democrat. Okay,
the DNC.
Doesn't. I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess there is no Democratic one, huh? I never thought about that before.
I guess they host theirs every night on the mainstream news.
Dude, hold up. By the way, I would like to throw this out there to young Pharaoh. I'm available to debate on behalf as a Muslim if anybody's interested. You remember how in The Simpsons when Homer was a boxer and they kept bringing in people to lose?
I literally just talked about this on Fat Jocks.
I will happily do that for people who are looking to make a name for themselves in theology. If you want me to show up and throw the fight.
Oh, right. So young Pharaoh destroys Rabbi, and it's you.
Not Rabbi, young Imam.
Young Imam, excuse me.
I'll take that. And I can't pretend to be something.
So you're not gonna just get into costume and just be a throw guy for anybody's agenda.
Brian, I can't be bought. And quite frankly,
you literally just said you could.
Quite frankly, I'm a little offended that you even said that. I have a little something called integrity.
I thought young Pharaoh, being so anti-Semitic and being like a black American rapper, I thought he was going to be like a Nation of Islam guy. But he actually, his YouTube channel says that Nation of Islam is rife with pedophilia. So he's just a shit talker all around.
I wish I knew enough about Nation of Islam to support his thesis,
All I know is the bean pies.
but unfortunately, I can't. Unfortunately, I just have to go on, take it on blind faith.
Yeah.
I guess I'm forced to deal with it that way.
Bow ties, bean pies, killed Malcolm X. That's all I know.
Also, that the devil is like a white, maybe Jewish guy, Yaqub. It's a pretty. One time, an African American gentleman explained it to me, and he sent me a YouTube video. We'll watch it on one of these shows.
It was founded by a guy who's from Georgia.
Nation of Islam.
Yeah,
really?
Nation of Islam was started by a guy who grew up on a. What are those things where they were like not slaves anymore, but they were sharecropping? Sharecroppers,
dude.
Yeah, sharecroppers.
Dang. Dude, that's interesting. Well, Nation of Islam episode coming soon. We'll invite an imam from the nation on the show to debate me, and I'll lose if he wants me to lose to prove that nation rules.
Yeah, whatever.
But
not even for money.
Well, no, for money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta listen, man. That's rule number one.
Right. Speaking of anti-Semitic humor, hey, could you call young Pharaohs? He's not joking, is he?
Well, when it comes to anti-Semitism, I don't find that humorous at all, Brian. So whatever it is, this is SNL.
Saturday Night Live's in. Are they no longer Saturday? Did they do a KFC thing?
Kind of like what we did with where we became Worst Hour Podcast.
Yeah. Are they just SNL now?
I think so. Possibly.
They're like Saturday Night Live is actually a charity. Because remember the WWF had I think they lost to the World Wildlife Foundation.
Dude, that is not okay. I'm fucking. If I could talk about that for a second. That was fucking bullshit, dude. The WWF should keep that. I understand. Look, I understand patent law. I understand copyright law. I understand trademark infringement. It's all things I get. Mm-hmm. But clearly, one of them won. You know what I mean?
Hulk Hogan or a panda bear?
I mean, there was only one. To this day, when I say WWF, I still think about the one thing. I don't think about
100%. 1999, you walk into any room in America with 15-year-olds, and you bring in a panda bear, and you bring in Stone Cold Steve Austin, people are immediately going to be like, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. I have no idea what that thing is.
No clue what it is. Don't want to see it. Fuck. Would love to see Stone Cold.
That was another thing at that time. Yeah, 1999, Stone Cold Steve Austin was king, and these two pandas in San Diego wouldn't fuck. Those were the two big stories.
Well, hey, man, I wouldn't fuck with that panda either. You saw it.
He's like, you look just like my mother. SNL and Hot Water accused of anti-Semitic humor after vaccination joke, which, by the way, that title sounds bad, but it was one of the first jokes I've heard on SNL that I thought was funny.
It is. Here's why I would like to talk about this particular story, because it is a real. I tell you what, man, you're starting to lose I think the argument in the public sphere for this type of bullshit, because. Okay, so the joke was that essentially, and I
can read it. It's Israel is reporting that they vaccinated half of their population, and I'm going to guess it's the Jewish half.
Okay, straightforward, crystal clear what the point of the joke is. Lots of major Israeli apologists.
Also, an actual politician from Israel.
Yeah,
is leading the charge.
I say apologist, I think in the actual definition of the word, which means a staunch defender of. Tweeted about how this is anti-Semitic, and their biggest problem with it was the fact that they're like, there are Muslims and Arabs who live in Israel, and the vaccine is available to all of them. The thing that they're not acknowledging is that there's Palestine, and the vaccine is not available to any of them.
Right. There are Arabs and Muslims who live
in Israel,
in Tel Aviv.
Yes, they live on the other side of the border.
Bethlehem, maybe.
And here's my problem. I'm not out here to tell you, Israel, how to spend your money. You guys are where you're at for a reason. Here's what I'm saying. Don't get me prodding my nose into what's going on over there, because there's actually a medical blockade that you guys are conducting on the Gaza Strip right now. You don't need us looking into that shit right now. Right. Just shut up and take the fucking joke.
And I know exactly. And for you, that's literally a phone call. You got family. You could just be like, "Hey, is this really happening?"
My cousins are literally going like, Russian or Chinese. Only one of us gets the vaccine, so whatever we choose, like, let's all do it together.
Oh, is that the deal? Yeah. So is that going to be like a rebel kid's going to go Chinese? They're going to be like, don't let him back. Don't let him back into the house. He went Chinese.
I got to tell you right now, man, the decisions that these children have to make on a daily basis versus me.
I know.
These are kids. Again, it's complicated. I get it. I'm not telling you to fucking pack it up, Israel. I'm telling you. When you're in the middle of a blockade, don't make me sniff around for the real story.
Right.
Maybe the story is you do technically, vaccinate the Arabs who live in Israel, but it's like 2% of the population.
Right. Well, kudos to SNL for telling a joke.
Hey, good for SNL for taking a stance on something.
Yeah, I mean, Lorne Michaels.
Bryan and I don't even know what to do when we say something positive.
I know.
Like, is there something we can say?
I just want to read real quick what Israel's ambassador to the U.S. said. He said, "I'm a big fan of humor." That immediately, nobody with a sense of humor says that.
Never a good start to a sentence.
No. I'm a big fan of humor. Or he probably he probably said, I'm a big fan of humor.
Yeah. Well, they're cut from a different cloth. Remember, it's not the same.
I'm a big fan of humor. But perpetuating anti-Semitism is just not funny. That's another thing that's that classic thing where you're like, wait, where's the anti-Semitism?
I don't think there's a lot of saying that there is a country that treats one group of people, which, by the way, are you guys saying that there is no apartheid going on over there? Because it's pretty fucking Christmas.
Yeah.
You haven't been too secretive about this. It's not like a huge thing. What's going on here?
Yeah, just own it. Did anybody learn anything from Donald Trump? You just own everything you do.
It's part of this even more subtle genocide that's going on, which is to go like, if we just pretend it's not happening, we can just completely decline the whole situation. And again, there's no anti-Semitism there. They're making a factual statement
about how medicine's being distributed. It has nothing to do with like imaginary stereotypes.
If I Google the word Israel medical blockade and I find a story from 2 weeks or sooner, then you have a fucking problem. Don't make me fucking Google this shit.
All right. Now let's get to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, we got to take a look. Hillary Clinton has a new project announced here. I don't know if you took a look at this. She's writing a political she's writing a political thriller called The State of Terror with Louise Penny. Oh boy, have the mighty have fallen. You went from fucking Secretary of State, almost president, to now writing airport garbage.
You can summarize Hillary Clinton's career in the Chris Farley and Billy Madison, where he's like, "Me and Veronica got it on," and then he's like, "No, you didn't." And then he's like, "Well, no, but my friend and her got it on." Like, "No, you didn't." But you could imagine. We're at the imagine I'm president.
If I told you in the year 2015, I said one of these people is going to be writing airport garbage books. One of these people is going to be president. You guess. You guess who's peddling garbage that you sell next
her husband does it too.
Bill.
Bill.
He's so far removed from her that I'm like, who's her husband again? Yeah. What's that?
Is it her? I thought she was married to Michelle Obama.
Is that Stedman? Is Stedman her guy? I really legitimately for one split second didn't
Ellen?
know.
Is it Ellen?
Well, he keeps it quiet, right? I imagine he's pretty quiet.
Well, I'll tell you why he kept it quiet. And I think maybe, I don't know if it's funny, but I'll just briefly mention it because I didn't have a chance to look into it. But the last book he put out, he co-wrote a book with this guy, James Patterson, I guess, who's like another like Costco, middle of the Costco book guy.
Yeah.
Big time.
His books come in bulk.
yeah, exactly.
I write my books 10 at a time.
Yeah,
you really save money with it this way.
That's essentially what he is. He's like a massive sales book salesman, author, whatever. Book salesman. I don't even know the word author.
Bryan is more admiring of the sales job. Well, that's the harder job.
When I see a book, I go, whoever's peddling this bullshit is a genius.
Dude, Charles Darwin sold the theory of evolution. Thousands
Can you
of
believe
years ago.
that somebody's able to sell its paper with words on it?
Muhammad is such a good salesman. I mean, fastest growing book sales in the world, if you really consider the Prophet Muhammad's work.
So, but Clinton, the last book he put out with James Patterson, because he's done 2, came out 2018, at the beginning of 2018, end of 2017, which what happened then is the eye of the Me Too hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was doing book tours.
That is not the time to be out doing any kind of tours. Yeah. When there's an eye of that kind of a storm passing through Bill Clinton's neighborhood, you get in the bunker. You shut the fuck up about your book.
Yeah. So we did a few, media, very controlled media interviews. I'd like to read them because one of them is like a Good Morning America, and it says Bill addresses Lewinsky and Me Too movement.
Dude, if I was Clinton, I would have been in a basement scratching my name off of that book the whole time. Monica Lewinsky was hot, dude, as an adult.
Yeah.
She got it together, man.
She's pretty all right on Twitter, I think.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I found her impressive, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? I found her impressive for a lot of reasons, but I think the thing was she was making the rounds right around the time when you and I were canceled by the Armenian community. We were canceled, but
yeah.
So I remember being like, man, I admire this woman.
Yeah. So there was something like some kind of relief.
Yeah. But Hillary's book, if you check out the subject here, so she describes the plot of the book, I think, right over here. Clinton's book, according to Axios, right there. It's about a Secretary of State. I'm sorry. It's an international political thriller.
It says a novice Secretary of State joins the administration of her rival, a president inaugurated after 4 years of American leadership that shrank from the world stage.
Isn't it funny that she just basically did her version of OJ's If I Did It? Like, this is her, like, this is what it would be like if I... It's fake, but it's real.
Yeah. What if Obama was my rival?
Dude,
She started... by the way,
Obama was a rival.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. But by the way, I think we covered this a long time ago, but I just relearned... I've been told this a few times, that Trump started the birther movement and then totally convinced all of us that Hillary Clinton started the birther movement.
I still believe Hillary started it.
She absolutely did not, dude.
You're not going to convince me otherwise, buddy. I mean, you can really try, but I still think Hillary started it because I read it somewhere. I read it somewhere on Facebook. It's too good, dude. By the way, do me a favor. Can you Google if...
No.
Google if... Can you start page the phrase eBay If I Did It Volume 1?
Okay.
Because this came up earlier while I was just curious because I was thinking about If I Did It. I think I've referenced it before on the show, but just to be clear, it's the book written by O.J. Simpson. It's a fictional story, I believe. This is a true first edition. I actually found one on here right there. Check it out. Rare O.J. Simpson first edition, true first edition. There's only 2 in the world, and it's being sold for $125,000 on eBay.
That's a screaming deal.
It's a book. Look, if Bitcoin hits $125,000, I think I know what I'm going to spend it on.
Perfect investment. That will accrue more interest than Bitcoin ever could.
If you're looking to store your value,
that's the most wettest liquid asset you could ever. I mean, listen, in 30 years, that's going to be worth $2 million. Easy.
So the book is ostensibly about if he was the person who murdered his wife, this is how he would have done it. I don't know if I would have used pictures of me in court on the front cover.
He also used on the back cover, a knocker picture of Nicole Simpson.
Dude, she is a freaking fox. There's no question about that. Big bazangas.
Mm-hmm. Two pictures of him.
Check out the description of this guy who's selling the book. This is what I found really amazing. If you scroll down, he'll talk to you about the directions on how right over here. He says, rare O.J. Simpson book. Book is in fine condition. I will fly or drive and meet you for hand-to-hand delivery.
Fuck that.
I will not ship in mail.
You're supposed to bring a suitcase full of $125,000 to this.
2 copies are available. Cleared payment via PayPal is required in advance to the delivery meeting.
How is this legal?
Don't you want to buy the book just to meet this guy? I almost want to buy the book to be like, tell me a little bit about how you got started. Where's your book?
Let's see if he has anything else for sale. Where do I find that?
I do. There's got to be like a description of him as a seller or something around here. Dude. Oh yeah, that's him. Atlantic Estates. Got a lot of
Atlantic Estates. Is this Tim Dillon?
dude. He's got a lot of feedback. 2,000 sold books here. He's
got an original copy of Mein Kampf.
No, does he really?
No.
Yeah, he's apparently all he does is sell books. They're all, dude. Larry Flint. He's got The Naked Truth by Larry Flint.
Dude, is that a first pressing? Yeah, it's a first.
First, dude. $65 pre-owned. Dude, this guy. I mean, well, I was gonna say rules, but every other book he owns seems like it sucks.
Yeah, I just want. Are these like Korans?
No, they're like Bob Dole. Let's see. This is a signed Bob Dole, The Easton Press, One Soldier's Story.
Looks like a Koran.
Yeah, that's probably why it didn't sell. Bob Dole's like, here, I know what's going to sell to the Republican, Republican people.
It's got a Jane Austen. Yeah. Okay. Well,
you know, people always try to get me to read books by making it look like the Quran. At least I find that to be the case. Anyways, I thought that was that's a you know,
$125,000 if anybody wants it, paid in advance, hand delivery. He's gonna fly, dude. You know what we should do? We should go.
That's just one of my.
We should.
One of my slaves was up.
Yeah, like you had cigarettes in there.
Yeah, I know.
You're a fucking greaser. He's just like the Fonz over here.
Yeah, I really don't know what that was about.
Your dad's like, you know, the Fonz was it Muslim?
Funzarelli.
Funzarelli?
Yeah, I don't know why I made him. I actually did him Italian.
Yeah. Where do you want to go from here?
Let's go. Let's take a look at. I guess we'll jump into Al Jazeera's launching a new right wing news outlet, Fox News. We'll do the same joke.
We'll do it 3 times every show. So Al Jazeera, which by the way runs AJ Plus, making no bones about this is all for money.
Yeah, without a question.
AJ Plus, very further left than Vice.
AJ Plus is, you know, it's so crazy how well it works. Like, I can't, on one level it angers me. On the next level, I'm like, you motherfucking geniuses.
Yeah.
You're playing us like a fucking fiddle.
Can't argue with it.
You got a chick with cool hair talking to me about the injustices going on right now in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
She's not even talking about Libya.
Yeah.
She's talking about what's going on in the United States. Let me tell you about what's going on in the United States. A woman's right to choose is being threatened. Meanwhile, they're drop kicking gay people off of roofs in Qatar. Not a fucking peep out of this woman.
So you know what the byline is, or whatever you want to call that, for AJ Plus is a social justice lens on a world struggling for change. AJ Plus is a unique digital news and storytelling project promoting human rights and equality and holding power accountable.
I like the idea that AJ Plus is sort of like, listen, we make money with AJ Plus by talking about how shitty the government of, like the actions that the government does here. It's sort of like they fund each other in some silly way. It's kind of a brilliant business idea. Right.
Well, also it's another propaganda thing where it's like if you're living in Bahrain and you're reading about what's going on in the
Bahrain?
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
For those who ddidn't know what I said, one more time.
Bahrain, you know what Bahrain? Well, of course you wouldn't know, but it's Arabic for 2 oceans.
2 oceans.
Ooh,
Yeah, I knew that.
you knew that.
Yep.
It's because it's a peninsula.
Yep.
Arab names for countries are as straightforward as they get.
Yeah, I believe Saudi Arabia means sandy as fuck.
Saudi Arabia means too hot. Saudi Arabia means if not a king, you're fucked. No, Qatar is syrup, like reference to oil.
Gotcha.
Yemen is Arabic for the right.
Right.
Because it's on the right.
What else? What do you want from me?
Yeah, exactly.
So Al Jazeera, now that they've already got their pen in the social justice inkwell, so now they're going to get into a right wing media. This is a good move for them because I don't know if you read, but Fox News is potentially getting censored, like on YouTube and shit.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's going to be a little tougher case for YouTube to start censoring like Arabic media.
I wonder if they'll hire just like white dude. Like, I wonder if they'll go hard and they'll hire like white Fox News correspondents. Like, do you think they'll go Newsmax style? Where they'll, like, in the same way AJ Plus you would never guess is owned by Al Jazeera. I guess you would guess it if you really tried.
It's called AJ.
AJ could stand for a lot of
Andrew
things.
Jackson?
You think they maybe do something else where it's like, truth AJ or like, some craziness like that?
No, I think they're going to be dressed like Saudi Arabian news.
Where are they going to get a bunch of conservative minded Arabs?
I have no idea. Let's see. Al Jazeera, I wanted to read a little bit of the new effort it's called Rightly.
Oh, dude, their Roger Ailes is going to be... You know how Roger Ailes used to watch the TVs with the sound off to make sure the chicks looked hot?
Yeah.
He's going to be watching with the sound off to make sure that the chicks are covered up. Yeah. He's literally doing the exact opposite. He's like a chick's walking, so he puts on a longer...
Hey, screen 7, I'm stimulated. Can you fix that?
Sweetheart, get over here. Turn around for me. You need a longer skirt.
Yep. It becomes the most lauded, like Time Magazine calls it the best workplace in the whole world.
Dude, if they pulled that off, Qatari government, my fucking... Bryan and I we'll be happily acquired by Al Jazeera.
Yeah, of course.
We put that out there. It's the only merger we're interested in.
I mean, it's kind of a dream come true.
It really is. We'll go public with that specific deal.
So Doha and funded by the state of Qatar closed down the U.S. facing TV channel in 2016, but has remained a significant presence online with its AJ Plus video network.
Interesting. I didn't know that they actually shut down their their actual news operation.
Yeah, well, the rest of the world, they got it because that's like my number one news source. But I always thought it was, I started reading their news when the Iraq War, the second one, Iraq War II, kicked off. And they, remember,
it'd be insane if you started reading it on the first one. Although I wouldn't put it past you.
There just wasn't internet then, I don't think.
I wouldn't put it past you to be a sixth grader reading a newspaper back then.
I was in sixth grade in 1991.
I assume what are you, 30 years older than me? Oh. Everybody knows I'm the young voice on the show.
Everybody knows that.
I'm the young hip voice.
But when George Bush's second target was Al Jazeera, when he bombed the oil wells and then he bombed Al Jazeera, if you remember, in shock and awe or whatever.
I didn't realize that.
Shock and awe might have been Afghanistan. Whatever the one that was in Iraq.
The second, you're talking about second run green night vision camera.
They bombed Al Jazeera right away. So I was like, oh, they must know something.
Oh yeah, of course.
So they became a news source for me. But so it says the launch of a conservative effort comes at a time of increasing extremism in existing right-wing U.S. news sources. Fox News, the go-to news channel for the American right, has lurched even further right as it faces threats from new ultra-conservative TV channels. I like how this is like becoming like Coca-Cola.
Well, here's the problem. You asked me today, you go, why are you always coming with a different energy drink? At a certain level, this is your fault, Fox News. At some point, you're not getting people high anymore.
Right. I know, right?
They got to go to Newsmax because eventually Newsmax is some fucking it's not going to get them high. They're going to have to go further.
Newsmax is literally going to end up with a sniper with a GoPro on, live streaming shooting Biden's dog.
It's funny, but the rise of live streaming really has come with this idea of like, I'm so fucked out of my brain that I need to watch you pant.
Yeah.
I can't just see you cut cleanly between shots anymore. I need to hear your breath.
Right. No, I need it. Yeah. I need to feel like I'm in your soul.
Yeah.
It's all being John Malkovich now.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So anyways, speaking of which.
Can I have another profound ding?
Yeah, that was actually true. You're right about that.
I like it. I like deciding when I'm profound.
I'm not upholding my duties here. So I apologize about that.
You know what? I got to give myself a pat on the back there. I think that was pretty profound.
Sorry about that, dude. I'm not upholding my duties. If I were to rate myself currently as a soundboard guy,
why does it sound like he flushed it by jumping on it with his feet?
he's using one of those like an addict,
Yeah.
or not an addict. I said addict.
An addict, like a chain. Gotcha.
Yeah, like a chain, not like me.
Let's close on this one.
Oh, yeah, dude. We can't help but close on this one. This is from our favorite state media news source, CGTN, which is the Chinese
government television network. That'd be so funny if it was that on the nose.
Chinese government TV. I mean, it's pretty fucking close.
Should I go to their about?
Yeah, so This is, by the way, a different Chinese government media source.
This is not CCTV.
This is not CCTV, which we've watched on this show before. This is CGTN.
What do they offer? Is it different?
Imagine if I owned both Pepsi and Coke, and I just sort of went like, I'd just give you something different to look at. It's the same fucking thing.
Right. Sometimes it's polar bears. Sometimes you got, Michael Jordan or something.
Sometimes you want a blue can. Sometimes you want a red can. But here in China, you're just going to get a silver opaque can.
I wonder if they have About Us. Here it is.
Ooh, interesting. I like how they have the page in Arabic for those. Although, probably a lot of business being done over there. Let's see.
Sure.
CGTN is an international media organization.
Oh, so I think CCTV is probably state-run local media, and CGTN is state-run foreign, like international media.
Yeah, it says they're headquartered in Beijing, and they have 3 production centers: Nairobi, Washington D.C., and London. Just so everybody knows, I'll say this: pay attention to that. China has a outlet in Nairobi for a very specific reason. They're not in Nairobi because it's the center of their universe.
No.
They got to control the narrative down there. There's some tomfoolery going on over there.
Also, shout out to our Nairobi listener.
We do have a listener in Nairobi.
That's why
multiple listeners. Could be the same guy listening on 2 different devices. We're not sure.
I would be more honored.
I'd be completely honored. He's been a consistent listener all the way through. I'd love to hear from him. Or she. You're right about that. I'm not sure if it's even legally allowed for she to be listening to a podcast over there, but we'll see.
But there's that white widow, that white Muslim British terrorist who's hiding out over there.
That is true, and we also have not ruled out the fact that it could be Obama's loser brother.
So yeah,
Does Biden have a loser brother? We'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
Not on this episode of the Patreon. By the way, this episode of the Patreon, just a sneak preview.
Patreon.
But I'm letting people know on the next one that's coming up. Just a little sneak preview here. We're going to be covering When Monkeys Attack. We're going to be watching multiple in-depth videos of When Monkeys Attack.
It's going to be exciting stuff. You need to get behind that Patreon.
You got to get behind that paywall to figure it out. Because Brian, there's some great When Monkeys Attack videos that I gotta go into with you.
Oh, I'm a big fan when they steal phones.
Oh, dude.
Okay, so just real quick, the agenda of CG, Chinese Global Television Network, is it aims to provide global audiences with accurate and timely news coverage, as well as rich audiovisual services, promoting communication and understanding between China and the world, and enhancing cultural exchanges and mutual trust between China and other countries. So,
okay, seems like a pretty straightforward operation here. They want to, increase trust between China and other countries.
Yeah, so that sets this up very nicely.
So this video here is essentially where they believe that the COVID-19 pandemic began, and here's a hint: they don't think it started in China.
No, and it looks like this may be a part of a series called As COVID-19 Rages.
Yeah, this is something that I pitched them as a segment. I said, hey, as COVID-19 really picks up, maybe what do you think we do a recurring segment called
Dun Dun As COVID-19 Rages. Hey, concerns raised over U.S. Fort Detrick lab as COVID-19 rages. All right, but first, news and weather.
It's the only sound clip I have.
All right, I'm going to press play on this guy.
As the coronavirus sweeps the world, people are beginning to realize the great destructive potential of tiny microbes to human health and society.
Okay.
We are dying.
Good place to start.
Yep.
The pandemic also evoked memories of the previous incidents surrounding biological experiments. This is why recently, a U.S. military laboratory in Maryland has become the center of a heated discussion.
So they're alleging that it started at a lab. That right now we see a screenshot at it says Fort Detrick.
Fort Detrick.
Fort Detrick was initially a secret research facility for germ warfare. Bacteria studied at Fort Detrick.
By the way, one thing Premiere Pro and After Effects has done is it's really tricked me into thinking. Like when you show an article and then you show the highlight stick going across.
Oh, I'm
I'm like, well, that's a fact.
You show the highlight stick across. If you show the beep and like the wipes, where it's coming up and you're showing me an upper, like a drone shot from above.
Exactly. And the subject that you're supposed to be looking at is in color, then everything else is dulled out around it. I mean, come on.
I'm 1,000%.
We're 42 seconds in this video, and I'm convinced that COVID started in Maryland.
It started in Maryland. So is Fort Detrick, by the way, is it where in Maryland is it? Did they get into this?
A deadly and highly infectious agent that has been used in terrorist attacks. During the war, the U.S. government ordered 1 million anthrax bombs from the base.
Okay, so they said during the war, which they assumed everybody meant World War II.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they meant.
So I guess that's true here. 1 million bombs were ordered through the order, though the order was canceled when the war ended in 1945. All right, well, what's a big deal then? They canceled the order.
That's got to be a tough call. Can you imagine being the guy who finally closed a deal on 1 million bombs?
Dude, I'm eating tonight.
You got salesman of the week in the bomb factory.
I gotta tell you, also though, the refund, being the guy who calls in and goes, so we got the 1 million bombs. I think we're gonna return 900,000.
Did you happen to hear about Nagasaki and Hiroshima?
Not gonna be something we're gonna need for the time being. So.
Could you give us a refund on those 1 million bombs?
I want to tell you, I appreciate the discount that you worked in for 1 million, because you got to work a discount in for 1 million.
Yeah, what would Costco do?
Yeah, absolutely the same thing they would do with those books.
Yeah, exactly.
You stack them together. Let's see here.
The base houses high-end research facilities, including the United States Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases, also known as USAMRIID, which leads the U.S. government's research.
What do you think is more clear? Saying the United States Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases or USAMRIID?
I would assume USAMRIID, first of all, it might be one of my cousins, but if he's not one of my cousins, I would assume it was one of the tests that I didn't take to go to college. I'm like, is that the USAM? Oh, dude, I did not score. I slept in on the USAMRIID. I didn't go.
I mean, I'm not very good at math anyway.
Are some of the most dangerous pathogens known to mankind, like Ebola.
Suspension on select agents research in 2000. So this is chapter 2.
In July 2019, however, research at Fort Detrick came to a halt after health authorities shut.
Is that a real thing? Military.com?
This is the source that they're citing is military.com. Can't be a website that anybody.
Shortly after USAMRIID's registration with the federal. Okay.
Can you just check on what military.com is? Just because I'm dying to know. It can't be a real. Military.com has to be a site some fucking domain squatter got in 1995.
Yeah, for real.
Military.com is. Dude, this is not a fucking website that you can use. This is just like just a general military website.
Here's my new thing. Go straight to the About Us.
All right. Let's see. Military.com is one of the leading websites for military members, veterans, and their families. Of any country or just the United States?
I think the military is American, right?
Oh, yeah. You're right about that. You can't... okay. I see what you're saying. You're right, but it doesn't really make sense.
Like the family is mafia. The military is United States.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll allow it. So, okay. This is a great example of showing us a quote like in After Effects. Really nice.
This is clean production. I will give CGTN that.
Military.com, they're getting the guy who does the ISIS videos. I guarantee you Xi Jinping was like, give me that guy on the phone.
Right.
We want to see the guy who did the Jordanian piece.
I mean, that's probably the only way he would escape like Guantanamo Bay or anything is like, like a con artist. That like if he perfectly counterfeit money,
yeah,
he'd
exactly.
get hired,
So
down its laboratories due to safety concerns. A CDC spokeswoman later confirmed that all research on select agents and toxins in biosafety level 3 and 4 laboratories were suspended.
Okay,
Inside
so
the labs,
did start here.
the CDC found at least 6 violations of federal guidelines, including critical containment procedures. Moreover, the inventory of select agents in the lab was inaccurate. There were also leaks caused by a dysfunctional wastewater decontamination system, though the CDC claimed that the leaks were limited within the labs.
Okay, this is an interesting angle. When I thought they were saying that the United States military was launching a biochemical attack.
They're taking
they're
our
saying
argument, exactly what we said.
Yeah.
And they're just saying it about us.
So why did it pop up if it just leaked? Why wouldn't the center of the initial outbreak be in Maryland?
this is the part of the story that starts to fall out a little bit. Well, from their standpoint, they're going, look, it only killed 4,000 Chinese people. Look how much what it did to Americans. It killed a ton of them.
Yeah, and of those 4,000, 3,999 of them were 110 years or older.
I'm not saying that COVID is not dangerous and it does not kill a lot of people, but I'm saying the truth is somewhere between China and America in terms of the number of people dying. It's not China. I don't know if it's true here as well.
There is a discrepancy.
There seems to be. It's probably whatever's going on in Mexico. Let's find out what's going on in Mexico. That's the actual death rate.
Oh, well, third highest in the world.
Well, that's it then.
Mexico, I read, Mexico has more deaths from corona than India. Not per capita.
Just
in
total.
general. There's more Mexicans died from corona than people from India.
Really?
There's like 1.2 billion Indians. There's like...
Yeah, but I mean, just... It's, maybe it's an abundance of doctors over there.
I don't think... When I think of India, I don't think of like healthcare.
Well... Really?
I think of here in America.
Well, that's the only way that I can think of anything.
This part
So I can
of the CDC
conceptualize it.
inspection report was its large redactions, leaving the agents involved in the two breaches unidentified. The CDC cited national
These guys are
security
gaslighting
reasons
us
for not releasing further detail.
Are they trying to gaslight us, or are they? Yeah, because this would be in Chinese if it was propaganda.
This is for us,
This
dude.
is for us, and I'm buying it.
I'm kind of buying it.
It says New York Times in the upper right.
It does say New York Times. It does not seem to cite any. Oh, okay. It's this particular article. It's really funny, by the way, that they went like, "Hey, what would sound as scary to our people as Wuhan sounds to their people?" Ooh, it's in Baltimore.
Yeah,
It's tough. By the way, tough word to say.
yeah, tough one.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Carol Krim of Maryland's House of Delegates is among those who have questioned the lack of transparency over the health and safety risks posed by the military base.
All right, let's see. How far into this are we? Okay, we're getting to the conclusion.
Yeah. So here we go. The institution
Over
under
the years, Fort Detrick has been involved in several controversies. The most famous incident is the 2001 anthrax attack.
Okay, this is if they're bringing up anthrax again.
Dude, anthrax was so 2002?
This is the fourth time they've brought up anthrax in this video.
Yep. It's the only thing they have.
Yeah, we'll let one little fucking thing get out. We mail a couple of letters. Is that
no big deal?
dude?
A couple senators get a little powdered.
Did anybody even die from that? I think that was one of those hilarious things where like 7 people died.
Yeah, and it shut down the whole post office.
There's an incredibly small number of people. Like, just so unlucky if you're one of those people who died from anthrax in
I think at that
2001.
moment, odds are well, maybe not at that moment, but pretty close to that. Odds were the Unabomber would get you more than the fucking anthrax.
Times we were very unconnected back then. It's
But
really,
Unabomber also, I believe, won death too.
it's really
I think another guy like lost a hand.
so much. Yeah, oh, simpler times.
Yeah, for real. Okay, let's get to the conclusion here. CG.
Yeah, you guys better
One.
better fucking send this
Mails
one home.
containing anthrax were sent to U.S. government and media offices. The incident caused 5 deaths. The 2 main
5.
suspects were both former researchers at Fort Detrick.
All right.
These incidents
I like that coincidence.
What are we supposed to assume they're still there?
And should raise concerns over the safety of U.S. biological research.
Sources. Ooh. Military.com.
Oh, I like what they did there. They didn't say anything about Fort Detrick and coronavirus and maybe an attack. They just said, look, they've done this.
They did it before. Things have gotten out.
Fill in the blanks. You can't sue me.
Who's to say that it didn't happen again, spread all over the world?
How far behind are we on social media? Okay, so CGTN, they have like a little, what would you call this? Like
I guess you'd call it like a banner or something like
a
that.
banner at the end that says follow us at CGTN on. And let's see how many of these I can name. There's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram,
Tumblr,
That's
TikTok,
Tumblr, TikTok,
Pinterest, WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
That one is an app I've never heard of before.
God, that is so much work.
But it's one of these things where you could also put any logo there, and I would believe that there's some shit I don't know about.
yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh, that's for a clubhouse? All right, I guess that's
Sure.
better. So I don't know. Listen, man.
So as far as we're concerned, who knows?
I'm not saying it's an open and shut case, but I am saying there are questions that the Chinese government seems to have raised.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's just as crazy to believe a guy ate a bat.
If Fort Detrick didn't come out and issue a statement against this, then I have to believe that.
Let's see if Fort Detrick has. Excuse me. Sorry, their scary music just keeps going.
Yeah, I like the scary music that they chose too. Jeez, man, that was really spooky. If they respond to this. This is like when
Whoever
Obama
spoke most recently, that's the side we're on.
This is like when Obama released his birth certificate. Like, if they responded to this. No. Oh, no, that does not look like they responded. Good. I'm glad they did not respond to this. Nope.
Nothing.
Good for them, dude.
And it gave me a misinformation. I'm always scared every time I look up something on the internet that's corona misinformation, that they think I'm like a propagating agent.
It does seem a little bit like, it's funny how much they have to hit you over the head now with just so you know, it's been confirmed that coronavirus started in Wuhan. Mm-hmm. Actually, they would never say something like that.
WHO said that. The WHO
said that?
Yeah, the World Health Organization.
But they're a figurehead. I need somebody with real power to say
But
it.
I'm telling you, if Trump he pulled all the funding out of the WHO.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they still say that it happened there, then that's good enough for me.
That's a decent argument. Now, if NATO weighs in on it, then I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand behind and see what NATO has to say. I want to see what the League of Nations from 1918 has to say.
What's the Arab one?
Oh,
the League of Arab Nations.
The League of Arab. No, but they also have some. They have other ones besides OPEC. It's like Gulf Nations United. They have like a couple
I
of
hear
ones.
what they think.
I don't hear what the
What
money.
do you think Bahrain thinks it started?
Bahrain absolutely doesn't acknowledge it's existing. I imagine that there are five. They have like 5 princes.
Do you think like homosexuality plays into their theory at all?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure I'm sure every one of them says it started in Israel.
Yeah.
And somehow found its way to Wuhan.
All right. Well, let's get out of here.
Yeah, man, it's getting hot. And this show's been going on long enough. Be sure to follow us across all social media platforms one more time at Worst Hour Pod. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/WHotW. You can email the show, worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com. Submit your submissions, by the way. America's Next Great Podcaster. We're looking for it. In addition to that, of course, you can follow the show across all. You can follow me across all social media platforms at Ramspad, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, you name it, I'm on it at Ramspad. Follow Bryan J. Vokey at Twitter, Instagram, Mr. Bryan Vokey. Check out the show Fat Jocks every Thursday at 9. By the way, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Video coming back in March.
Yeah, or if you prefer to just listen to us with a nice thumbnail, they're all up.
It's there all up. Video coming back in March. March 31st is still technically March. I want to remind everybody that. Let's see. Anything else you got to plug here, Bryan?
No, sir.
All right, man. Well, if you got nothing else to plug and I got nothing else to plug, then on behalf of me, you, everybody here at the Worst Hour Nation, peace be on to the prophet.
What?
Do your long live thing.
Long live young Pharaoh.
Coming in hot with the depravity you see. This is the worst hour of the week. Reaching new lows with Bryan and Ramsey. This is the worst hour of the week. Worst hour of the week.
Thank you for listening to the Worst Hour of the Week with Bryan Vokey and Ramsey Badawi. Peace be unto the prophet. Okay.